Coming up, serial candidate Gary Duffy declared he was running for Ipswich Mayor, but jumped to divisional candidate earlier this year when he knew he could not win. Meanwhile, his wife Connie Turney, also known as Connie Anders, steals the thunder of Ipswich residents against toxic environments' No Dumps in Ipswich campaign. It's Friday, September 4, 2020, and I'm Alan Roebuck. Welcome to Ipswich Today, which acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land on which it is produced and pays respects to elders past, present and emerging. This podcast is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. In 20-plus years of observing local politics in Ipswich, sound policy platforms have been replaced by sometimes vicious personal attacks on incumbents and candidates of all political persuasions. This is not unique to Ipswich. The spreading of half-truths and wild conspiracy theories has also been a feature, especially at council elections. These bitter attacks have escalated since the advent of social media. There have been candidates who seek to change the narrative based on some facts, then make up the rest to suit their point of view and create what we now call online outrage. They also use the adage, if you say it enough, it must be true. This tactic could also be described as creating the illusion of truth. We have witnessed a couple of serial candidates pop up at every election for a number of years. In examining the most prolific candidates in recent times, two names spring to mind. One is Patricia Peterson, who has left our fair city for Darwin to be admitted as a lawyer in the Northern Territory. The other is Gary Duffy, a former North Queensland resident who moved to Ipswich a few years ago. Before we had heard of Mr Duffy, he ran a motor vehicle service workshop in Keogh Street, West Ipswich, which was inundated by the 2013 flood. At some point after this, he began his long run to secure a seat in the council chamber. His motivation at the time appeared to be some deep hatred of the then mayor and local councillor. He also promoted unworkable flood barrier solutions for Ipswich in the wake of the flood. They sounded good, but expert engineers debunked one of his proposals in particular, and that was for gates at Marsden Parade under the rail line. Then there was his proposal for an alternative to the planned Norman Street Bridge. Again, sounded good, but totally impractical. Fast forward to 2016, and he ran unsuccessfully for mayor, gaining just under 9% of the vote. At the 2020 March election, he was going to run for mayor again, but jumped to a division at the last minute, no doubt fearing a loss. He still failed to get enough votes to be elected as a councillor. Not to be deterred from public office, Gary Duffy declared he is running as a One Nation candidate at the upcoming state election. His main outlets to promote himself are not one but two Facebook pages, which are sprinkled with wild conspiracy theories about all manner of topics, including COVID-19. A feature is the constant slamming of anyone who doesn't share his opinions. This includes other candidates, politicians and voters, which in itself is a little disturbing. Meanwhile, his wife Connie Turney, or Anders, has entered the fray and again shares some wild and wacky theories on her social media. Recently, Connie has taken up the No Dumps campaign, even managing to score an appearance on ABC News recently. This is no doubt to raise her profile and help husband Gary. On the surface, it appears Connie has stolen the thunder and agenda, and the previous hard work, of Jim Dodrell and Jeff Yarram from the Irate Group. That's Ipswich residents against toxic environments, and their long battle to stop dumps expanding, stop new dumps, and stop the proposed waste-to-energy plant. Both Gary and Connie appear constantly in search of a new cause to keep their names in the public eye. They also make extensive use of online petitions. A scroll through the Queensland Parliament website and you'll find both of them sharing duties by initiating a number of petitions over recent years. When it comes to choosing who to vote for at the state election, there's one thing worthy of consideration. If a campaign promise sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Carefully consider the policies and, above all, the sincerity of candidates well before you arrive at the polling booth. Do your own independent research on people and policies. One thing is certain next month. We will get the government we deserve. and that is won via the ballot box. Ipswich Today is supported by Kinetics, people-powered web hosting trusted by Australian businesses since 1999. You can subscribe for free and share this podcast from your favourite app, including iHeartRadio, or play Ipswich Today from your smart speaker. Suggestions are welcome for future interviews and topics. Just go to the Ipswich Today website or Facebook page and leave a message. Music is supplied by Purple Planet Music. This is Alan Roebuck. Thanks for listening.